Hello everyone, this is Nabil, and today I'll be showcasing the project we have created using Napptive. Uh, we are the team of Sada engineers, and me and my colleague Sajid have created a use case of deploying an application which uses Kafka. So let's get started. So first we created a demo application using Spring Boot. You can see that we have provided a demo local bootstrap URLs for consumer and producers. We have created the demo controller which just publish the messages on this URL, and we have consumer and producers which produces the messages and consumes the messages. So let me just boot up this application. But for that, I have also boot up my local Zookeeper and Kafka. Now I can just spin the application and you can see that this will be connected to the Zookeeper and it will be assigned to the to this topic. Now when I go to my URL, let me just create a new HTTP request, a post one, HTTP localhost 8080 because my application is running on 8080 slash API slash v1 slash what was the URL? Let me check the confirm the URL from the controller. Okay, API says v1 says Kafka. Now I'll just provide the JSON payload, which is this request body. Let me go to the body, raw, JSON. I'm just providing my name here, and it will just send the message to the Kafka. And I can also see the logs here. And let me send that now. You can see the message is sent to Kafka topic, and you will also see the log here, message received. So it was running fine locally. Now the next step was to deploy this application using the Napptive. So for that, we created a Sada Kafka folder. Over here, we have created a YAML file. We define this as a kind of application. Our application name is Sada Kafka. But for in order to run the Kafka, we need a Zookeeper because that's what manages the Kafka cluster. It was a web service. We provided the image of the Zookeeper, and we run this on port 82181. And we provide these environment variables so that we can connect to the Kafka with this Zookeeper. So next we create a Kafka broker, and it is also a type of web service. We use the Kafka Confluent latest image tag. We expose this Kafka on 9092, and then we provide these environment variables. The environment variable, this was very important, otherwise it wouldn't connect to the Zookeeper. And you also have to provide these Kafka advertise listener and Kafka listener in order to send and receive the messages. Finally, we also deployed this our application to a Docker Hub. I deployed it to my Docker Hub, and then we just use it here as a web service. And we finally expose this as a public route that we can send and receive the messages. Once we deploy this, let me show you this. I go to Napptive Playground, and I have deployed this application already. You can see here the logs. It's already connected. You can see different logs here, broker, Spring Kafka. You can see it is assigned to the partition JSON payments as I have shown earlier. Okay, so now I'll just use the URL which is generated from Spring Kafka here. I'll use this URL and I'll go to the Postman and I'll perform the same actions which I did before. So let me come here. I have already pasted the URL. Let me just try again. Okay, I'll provide same name here, Nabil Ahmed. I'm sending the message to my application using this route. Let me send it. You can see I have again got the message. JSON message sent to Kafka topic. Now I can go back to my application here on over here and I can check the logs. I should be seeing JSON message sent to the user 3345 name Nabil and Ahmed. So the idea is if we come to the judging criteria, we use an idea to deploy Kafka so that any application, any user, any company who wants to use person who wants to use Kafka in the next project, they can just directly spin up this project and they can use the Kafka. Only thing they would have to do is for the usability is they have to remove this Spring image and they can add their image, they can add their own service, their own application if they want to use the Kafka But bear in mind they have to set up these properties in their application as well. In the application.yaml file, you have to provide, let me show, you have to provide here broker and broker, because if you don't provide this one, you will facing a lot of issues in port mapping. So that is why, because over here what we do is we're connecting it to the Kafka advertisers, which is this one. Let me show you that. So you have to provide the same broker over there as well in an application, otherwise you will have face some connectivity connection issues. Okay, so if you talk about the implementation of idea, we implemented a Kafka because we wanted to see, we want to make out of the box solution on the catalog as it was not present on the Napptive platform. The impact of this is that the user doesn't, anyone who wants to like use Kafka, they don't have to like set up Zookeeper and Kafka broker separately. They can just spin up this cloud native platform and deploy this, and they can use in with their application. Efficient use of resources. Yes, kind of it is, because we didn't use anything extra. We're just spinning our Zookeeper and the Kafka cluster. So about the learning, if you talk about, there were some issues in deploying the Napptive platform. We were facing some issues because that Kafka broker was unable to connect. And just like I was mentioning, that we have to make sure that the port binding was success correct. Otherwise, there were some issues. So there was a bit of learning in that. This project can be used definitely. The documentation, I have created my GitHub project for this one. Sada Kafka. You can go over here and check out the README, the Kafka YAML, and the metadata YAML file. So yeah, that's it, folks. I hope you have enjoyed this little showcase. See you guys. Bye bye.